Men are under attack in this country. By who? Vulnerability? Therapy? A female boss? Masculinity is being destroyed. No, toxic masculinity is real strength, raising your kids, talking about your feelings without punching a drywall, and oh yeah, caring about others. We need strong men again. Then start teaching boys it's okay to cry and not hate themselves.
MAGA men are crying about being single. That's it. That's the problem. The same guys who built a whole identity around dominance, stoicism, alpha everything, can't get a date. And instead of looking inward, they're crashing goth bars, sliding into liberal DMs, and apparently logging onto apps they publicly condemn. Meanwhile, the women they pushed away? Healing, building, unbothered. Today's compilation is heavy in places, real talk, but it's necessary. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's get into it.
All right, we're going to do story time. So I just recently posted a video doing jelly rolls, save me. I'm come from, well, I had a great dad and a great mom. I had some step family that wasn't so great, that abused me, all kinds of stuff. So I ended up in marriages that were terrible for me. Terrible, because I was dependent on someone. And they were not very nice people. They were, in this context, who I'd call MAGA. People that were toxic, that wouldn't believe I was being physically abused and sexually abused in my marriage. And nobody wanted to listen to me.
Nobody wanted to listen. She was being abused inside her own marriage, and the response was silence, doubt, dismissal. And that's not a one-woman story. That's a pattern, a culture that trained people to protect the institution of marriage more than the woman inside it, to protect reputation more than reality. That's the thing about toxic environments. They don't just hurt you once. They teach everyone around you to look away too.
As I've been with my man for almost 14 years, we've been married 9 years, 9 wonderful years. I finally found a man who loves me for me, who doesn't want to abuse me and put me in mental spaces that I don't need to be in. He has helped me become me and not angry me. Not me who just jumps off into a tangent like I used to. You could say I was at one time told that I was a pit bull because I believed so hard in everything because I had something to prove, that I was my own person. And this comes when you're not taught how not to be a young mom or not to be a young wife. I was 16 when I got married. I got married less than a month after my 16th birthday to my first husband. And that lasted 9 months. He was in the Air Force, and it's not that I didn't love him, but I was 16. Who the hell was I? I had a baby, and I'm 16, and I'm making decisions to get married? And it disgusts me with these people that don't believe young girls. Because when I was 13, I was raped by a man with HIV. And I didn't know.
13. I need everybody to just sit with that for a second. She was 13, and the trauma didn't end that day. It followed her into every marriage, every decision, every moment she tried to figure out who she even was. Because how do you know who you are when the world violated you before you even had a chance to find out? And she's still taking tests decades later, still living inside someone else's crime. This is what survival actually looks like. Not a comeback story with a bow on it, just a woman still standing under the weight of something that never should have touched her.
So in the midst of that, in the midst of getting pregnant at 15, I'm still taking HIV tests to make sure I don't have the disease because somebody took advantage of me. am almost in my 50s, and it still terrifies me that other women go through this, and you have these men on here saying, well, they didn't come out. I didn't either. This is probably the first time I've come out that wasn't with my best friend since I was 17. And listening to the way MAGA acts like this ain't nothing, this is something, and it's people's lives. It's people's lives. Why I've gotten through mine, it still hurts me to the women that aren't. And this regime needs to stop.
Yeah, she said it. And honestly, what else do you call a system that actively works to silence women who've been through this? The rage in her voice isn't irrational. It's earned. Every single syllable of it. Short reaction here because sometimes there's nothing to add. She said it right.
It needs to fucking stop. This is crazy to me. We're trying to make it so women have no voice. And I felt for a long time I didn't have a voice. And I'm not that person anymore. Like my shirt says, I won't be remembered as a woman who kept her mouth shut, and I'm not. I'm here for every one of you women that need it. I'm here. I picked myself up. I drank a lot. And I have finally gotten past that. And it took a lot of years. My kids suffered a lot. But the one thing I can always say is I always loved my kids. And I tried to get through everything for them. But it's not always enough. So I'm here no matter what you need. All of my blue dots. And you MAGA men, y'all fucking better wake up, man. You're gonna be lonely. Lonely fucking souls. That's all I gotta say.
Lonely fucking souls. And she is not wrong. You spent years building walls around your ego instead of building something worth being close to. You called vulnerability weakness, called therapy soft, called emotional intelligence feminine. Like that was an insult. And now you're alone on a Friday, angry at an algorithm. This is not feminism winning. This is just cause and effect. You cannot treat people like they're replaceable and then act confused when they replace you with peace and quiet.
Facts.
So I believe MAGA men are currently going through some sort of sexual crisis, dating crisis. Because for some reason they're starting to enter alternative spaces, spaces that are more accepting to a wide range of individuality. And for some reason, MAGA conservative white nationalist fascists are very attracted to alt women. Because a couple weekends ago, I went out to the castle with some friends of mine, and we've noticed an uptick in these fratty, Trumpy looking Florida boys, and they kind of come in to the space and really just harass alt women and men, size them up, come in acting like hot shit. It's kind of like the TikTok of the MAGA hat wearing guy going to Disney World. He just wants all the attention because he feels emboldened and like the world owes him something. He feels like he's on top. That's the vibe that's going on currently. They want to come into these alternative, gothic spaces that really go against everything they stand for, which is weird. And they want to latch onto these alt women and try to change them and create a power dynamic. And I think that's where the fetish comes into play. These guys more frequently, they're rolling up into spaces. It doesn't have to be like it can be anywhere. And they just harass people and want to be the center of attention, and it's very cringy. I think there's I don't think they're getting laid. I think they're going through a bit of a crisis.
Oh, they are definitely in a crisis. And here's what's actually funny about it. They spent years mocking spaces like this, calling alt culture weird, degenerate, whatever, and now they're showing up in those spaces trying to run the same tired game. It's the ego of it, the sheer unearned confidence of walking into a room that was never built for you and acting like you own it. Bro, you don't even understand the music.
I need to know, what is it? Why do conservative men always want liberal women? When I'm going through my Hinge and seeing who's liked me, I would say if there was 10 people who had liked my Hinge profile, 8 of them would be openly conservative on their profile, and the others would either have nothing or be moderate. Like, I have liberal on my profile for the sole purpose of like trying to weed any of that out. And I know they're seeing it. I know they're seeing that it says liberal, so I'm just confused. And is it like, are you trying to like fuck with me, or do you think you have a chance? Like, and don't even come in the comments being like, it's not that deep. It's not that. I just don't understand what it is though. Why are you so drawn to me?
Okay, real talk though. She's asking the right question because it's not random. It's not a coincidence. There is a specific type of guy who targets women who have their life together. Women with opinions, standards, direction, because deep down he doesn't want an equal. He wants a project he can slowly reshape into something more convenient. Liberal women are interesting to him because they're a challenge, and challenging that boundary is the whole point. It's a control thing dressed up as attraction. The moment she stands her ground, he disappears. Watch.
Like, maybe you could let me know if you want to like learn, if you want to become educated, I can help you out, babe. But if you just want to like try to make things work for fun, no.
To all conservative women, your men don't want you. They want us. And how sad that is for you, because I cannot imagine basing my entire life, my belief system, my family planning, all around trying to get men to be attracted to me, and it's still not working. It is a known stereotype that men on dating apps hide their political views. It's not to try to attract conservative women, though. Videos explaining this are a dime a dozen on this app, coming from conservative men themselves, because they see liberal women as more of a challenge. Do you get what that means? They're saying you're easy.
Saying to any particular group of women that your men don't want you, they want us, it's honestly weird. It's giving jealousy. It reminds me of how a mistress will get off on a man choosing her over his wife. Which is funny when all of the women in the comments on that video are commenting that conservative women are the pick-me's. Ladies, newsflash, attention on dating apps is not the gold standard for women that are looking to marry someone and to start a family with someone. I think you should consider that there is a chance that men are on dating apps not exactly looking for their wives. Some are, but they're not the ones giving you that attention, trust me.
The harder you fight to control your desire, the more your desire ends up controlling you. You may have woken up to the news that the gay dating app Grindr recently experienced an outage at the same time as a very, what I am going to call, camp memorial service on September 21st in Glendale, Arizona. I thought that I would share some thoughts as a certified sexologist and someone who studies human sexual behaviors. Are the outage and the memorial service connected? I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. We also saw this happen in Cleveland, Ohio in 2016 during the Republican National Convention. Something that's important to note is that at both the RNC in 2016 and at the memorial over the weekend, demographics of both crowds were predominantly white conservative men. And if that fact feels a little bit contradictory to you, I want to talk about something. When we create a taboo or stigmatize something, it actually becomes more powerful as fantasy. Desire is not beholden to ideology. Repression will never and doesn't erase orientation or sexual expression. It will find a way to surface. It will leak out in contradictions. The forbidden turns into fuel for our desires and our expressions. Let's take a moment to consider why the most searched category on any porn website is step mom or stepdaughter. And I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but I think it's really important that we talk about the nuances of these conversations and why they unfold the way that they do. When desire is forced into the shadowy corners of culture or of ourselves and our own identities, it actually becomes quite dangerous. Secrecy breeds things like abuse, abuse of power, and a specific type of domination often associated with misogyny and bigotry. Emotional and physical abuse thrives in unaccounted for spaces, thrives on shame, and thrives when unhealed people are filling said spaces. Their systems of suppression are simultaneously the thing that is harming them while also being the thing that gets them off. And until they can integrate their shame surrounding those expressions of sexual orientation, sexual desire, but also a need for power play and control, they will forever be the ones causing harm, spreading hate, and fueling messages of shame. And that's the irony of this entire conversation. The harder you fight to control your desire, the more your desire ends up controlling you. What we repress will always return to the surface. And when it does, it tells us so much more about our culture, the people in power who are at the helm of designing our culture and its systems.
This is genuinely one of the most important things said in this entire video. Repression doesn't kill desire, it pressurizes it. And pressurized things don't stay contained forever. They explode outward, usually toward people who had nothing to do with it. The shame doesn't go away. It just finds a new address, and that address is usually someone else's safety. That's not a political statement, that's just psychology. And the irony is that the systems built to suppress these things are the exact same systems producing the most contradictory behavior. It's not a coincidence. It's the mechanism.
There is an epidemic of conservative men trying to bait and switch strong progressive women into being with them. And I know I'm not the first person to talk about this, but I'm just going to share with you a conversation that I had today. So a couple nights ago, I was back on dating apps, and honestly, that's on me. I usually have them turned off, but I was curious. So I took a peek and I matched with a guy and we started talking. And in my bio, I have listed that I have very high standards for men these days. I say that I have worked really hard to build a life that I'm really happy with, and I'm really only interested in meeting men who are willing to meet me on my level. I also have in my bio, absolutely no MAGA. That's the exact wording. I'm very clear about it. So we start talking, and he asks me about these high standards of mine, and I said, well, I could share them all with you, but it might scare you off. And he said, send them to me, I can handle it. So I did, and there are probably 40 items on this list. One of them, by the way, is that I'm looking for a liberal or leftist guy. And some of these things on this list are things that I'm willing to be a little flexible on. Some of them are really hard limits, but they're all things that I'm looking for in my ideal man. So he responds and says, okay, I can agree with you on most of those things. And I said, okay, which things don't you agree with? And he said, oh, it's not that I don't agree. It's just that I have a couple questions on a couple things. And I said, ask your questions. Go ahead. Let's hear them. And he sent me his questions about a couple specific things on the list, and I answered them as fully as I could. And then he sends me this. Surely you jest. What on earth gave you the impression that I was into being a traditional wife? What about my bio? What about everything on that list? What about just the way I've been talking to you, sir? Mind you, this man's bio says that he's the total package, which I was already heavily skeptical of, but I thought I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Says that he cooks and cleans and takes care of the house and his cat. So it's taken him a whopping 15 minutes to reveal that's a total lie, and that he's looking for someone to do all these things for him. So I tell him that I have zero interest in being a 50s housewife or someone's bankmaid.
Bankmaid. She just invented the perfect word for this, because that's literally what they want. Someone to manage the house, manage the emotions, manage the kids, manage him, while he coasts through life calling himself a provider for doing the bare minimum. 15 minutes, that's all it took for the mask to slip. 15 minutes from I can handle it to so you'll cook and clean right. And the worst part is, he genuinely thought he was being smooth about it, sir. She has a 40-item list. She was never going to miss this.
I said that I'm very independent. I own my own home. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm reiterating what I said in my bio at this point, but I said that I'm very ambitious, and that's not what I'm looking for. And I'm more than willing to do half the laundry and half the cleaning and half the cooking, but I want someone who's a true partner. And then this happens. And then he stopped responding, which was a little disappointing. I was kind of interested to see how much farther down his throat he could stick his own foot. But I was disgusted by this. This isn't the only time I've had a guy like this try to dupe me into being with him, and I've gotten faster and faster at sniffing them out pretty darn quickly. But I just never cease to be amazed that these men think, what, we're gonna fall for them and give up all of our goals and standards and ambitions to be with this person, to be with a man? What? I could live 1,000 lifetimes and not want to spend one of them cleaning up after a man. Absolutely not.
I am incredibly smart. I am incredibly driven. I have so much going for me in my life. If the choice is between be with someone and cook and clean and do their laundry for them all the time and be on my own, there's no competition here. It's not even a choice.
And that is the part they still don't get. They think being chosen is a given, like just existing is enough to compete with a woman's entire built life, her home, her peace, her ambitions, her freedom. It's not. The bar for being worth disrupting someone's happiness has never been higher, and honestly it should be, because what she's describing isn't loneliness, it's preference. She prefers her own life to settling. That's not a threat to masculinity, that's a standard. And if that terrifies you, maybe ask yourself why.
I am perfectly happy on my own. Why would I give that up? To be your maid and your mother? Absolutely not! Get out! I don't know what these men are after. I don't know why there are so many of them and why they seem to be increasing in number. I don't know why they think they're being so sneaky. They're not. It's actually quite easy to figure you out and what you're after. I don't know why you think we're going to fall for you. But it's just a really unsettling, pretty disturbing trend that I know many other people have noticed. And I don't really know what to do about it. But just wanted to put my experience out there.
So here's the thread through all of this. A woman who survived abuse before she was old enough to vote, still standing. A woman still taking HIV tests in her 50s because of what someone did to her at 13, still talking. Women getting faster at spotting manipulation, still unbothered. And somewhere in the middle of all that survival, MAGA men confused about why their DMs are empty. The answer was in this video. Every single time a woman was dismissed, doubted, silenced, manipulated, that's the answer. You built a culture that punished vulnerability, mocked empathy, and called control strength, and now you're alone inside it. That's not a conspiracy. That's not feminism. That's just what happens when you treat people like they don't matter. Eventually, they agree with you. Drop a comment, what hit hardest today? Like, share, subscribe, because we've got a lot more of this coming. This was Mind Mirror. See you next time.